Well, right now it is great to be joined by Chicago Stars FC assistant coach Ella Masar. Ella, I'm so excited to jump into this topic because it's one that goes far beyond soccer, but I also know it's one that you are very passionate about, which is motherhood. First off, thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure, my pleasure. It's nice.
So I want to start, take me back to the year 2020. So I know that was when you had your first kiddo,
Yes.
but what was life like for you during that year?
I mean, I think it was this whole process because you retire in 2019, and I retired from arguably one of the best clubs in the world at that time, Wolfsburg. So you're playing in a Champions League final. I was 33 at the time. I knew I wanted more than one kid. But when you leave Wolfsburg, you have like the best contracts offers of my career. At 33, I had the best contracts. And I decided that I wanted to do because you have this clock. And even in 2019, there was no option to play and come back. So just fast forward how far, it's 2025, that's on the table. So I decided to take a chance for my family, retired, moved to Madrid, luckily got IVF, got pregnant very quickly, and then it was interesting. November, you're in Madrid, moving to my 8th country in 8 years, and then February that year, COVID hit. And COVID was not COVID like it was here in the US. In COVID, I did not see somebody's face for 2 years.
Wow.
So this whole started, and for 3 months, we could not leave our apartment. Now we had dogs, so we were lucky. So, for example, I was 9 months pregnant in 42 degrees, so what's that, 100 and over 110, 15. I was 9 months, and you cannot go out with your partner. So you had to come out. I had 3 dogs and 9 months, and I'm waddling in 110, 15 heat in Madrid, Spain. I definitely probably made a name for myself with my neighbors. And then we had this beautiful little boy named Zakani.
Oh my goodness. Has it always been a dream of yours to be a mother?
Yes, and always for more than one.
Really? Okay.
I didn't think I'd have 2 boys. That's been a humbling time, but I always knew I come from a family of 4. I have a twin sister. I'm used to this community, and as you know, or not know probably at this point in time, you need a village to raise a family. And my family has always been those people that have supported me, even though I've been all over the world.
What was that first pregnancy like for you, especially having that experience in Madrid?
It was hard. I got to be honest, because I think as a footballer, you're used to your body looking a certain image.
Yeah.
It's like a perception. It's a lot more media now, but like you have this in Wolfsburg, actually, you'd get on the scale every week. And it wasn't to see how much you gained, but it was also to see how much you would go under. So if you were 2 pounds over, or if you were 2 pounds under, you would have to be on a weigh. And if you were over, you'd have to have a conversation if you were under. So it kept you really in this 5 pound, 2.2 kilos isolation. And it's just kind of always in your mind. And so all of a sudden you're working out to have this body, and now you're working out to grow this miracle. Like I still can't comprehend my body's like grown 2 children. So it was hard to adapt to. I didn't enjoy being pregnant. I definitely didn't enjoy the heat of Madrid and the swelling that I went through my body. But again, it's a miracle. We got lucky.
You talked about not being able to see someone for 3 months?
Yeah.
For months in Madrid. That had to be isolating.
Yeah, and it was hard. And no one met my son until he was 8 months old because we had to come back. There was a lot of different perspectives. I mean, we had like this little balcony, and it was like interesting because it was COVID and my wife was playing from Madrid, so we'd like play in her back, and I was like 7, 8 months, I think you can see in my Instagram, 8 months pregnant with a belly, like trying to volley to her. So it kept me active and allowed us to become really close because that's all we had at the time.
You talked about kind of seeing your body evolve.
Yes, that's a good word.
During that time, especially being someone who played soccer at the highest level.
Yes.
Going from super fit to now seeing your body evolve and grow another human inside of you. Just as a woman, how hard was it to maybe accept that your body was changing, but also to do something incredible, which is to grow another human being?
Hard. I was actually just speaking to Crystal Dunn about this at national team camp because obviously she has Marcel, who's 2 years old. And I think it's good for them to see that you can come fit again, and it's good for them to change the perception that now 1 is able to play and come back, and 2, actually your body adapts more. You're actually fitter, you have more oxygen to your system, so you can actually use it as a superpower compared to hindrance. And I think now, I don't know if I should tell players, but you are so protected by a league. They are so great for players to have children that this is the time that if this is what moment, you don't have to decide anymore. And I think that is empowering, and they should know that.
You mentioned how people didn't get to meet your son until he was 8 months
Yeah.
old. The moment, maybe those memories when your family and friends were able to meet him, what was that like? Especially going from being isolated during pregnancy too.
Because Spain was such an interesting community, and so many, for example, I say this because everyone in Spain, you live together. So it's not just your parents, it's your abuelos. Like you have a family of 8 in an apartment of two apartment rooms. So when I came back, I flew into Nashville actually, and it was like COVID didn't exist. Because I could see people, I did not see somebody's face for 2 years. Like even on public transport, because they got hit so hard, because teenagers would come back, get the mother, get the father, and it was such a hard transition for them. Then it's just such a beautiful time. I see my sister, my twin sister met him, and it's just for that, there's such an important role, and we know that this is probably temporary, most likely home is in Europe, so it's just soaking up every moment that you can.
What got you through some of those trying times during your first pregnancy? Okay.
But I remember calling, I will never forget, Zai was, so you kind of, sometimes you can reverse it. So for example, in the day, you're running around when you're pregnant, and that's what they love. It's like the shh, 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 so they sleep. In the night, you can feel your stomach moving because you're still, so the baby comes alive. So my son, for the first 3 months, switched it. So in the day, he would sleep, and at night, he was awake. And I'll never forget, calling my mom at 8 weeks, Mom, I can't do this. I don't know, I can't put him back, but I can't because I was so exhausted. And my wife was still playing. So she was a professional athlete. So that was my job, to take care of my child, our child. And it was probably one of the hardest to date because I couldn't figure it out. And I was alone. My mom wasn't there. She couldn't come over. No Spanish citizenship. And it was a really hard time.
Wow. I want to dive deeper into that because you mentioned how she was playing at the time.
Yeah.
You're at home, pregnant, carrying y'all's first child.
Yep.
I mean, how, maybe from her perspective, how was she able to be there for you during that? Because that had to not be easy at all, especially 2020 with COVID and everything too.
I think also she felt isolated. I mean, you're growing as human. And it's also a transition, right? It wasn't just the fact that I had a year to be like, okay, I'm no longer a pro athlete, but it was the transition of ending this 10-year career, which I was lucky to have, and playing some of the best teams in the world, to then knowing I stopped on my own accord, which was unique, knowing I wanted this process to start, knowing that we got lucky because it's not just I wake up and let's try to have a baby. It's $10,000, $15,000 that we were lucky to have. That's what my career gave me. And then you go into this transition of, because of the circumstances, it's just you and me. So when he was 6 months old, we drove from Madrid through France, through the night, 24 hours to Germany.
Wow.
Because that was the only way we were allowed to see anyone that we knew.
What was it like to see your life change so quickly, going from retirement to being able to be get pregnant successfully?
It was hard, but we also know we were lucky. You know, IVF is a lot of money. It's a lot of doing it in a different country. It's a lot trying to, so we had Spanish doctors, then we moved to a German clinic, then you're doing with German, a little bit of, it's just so many moving pieces. And again, we got lucky because we got pregnant on the first try. And as an athlete, your body is because you don't really drink, you don't smoke, you don't go out party. You have this very strategic regimen for 10, 15 years. So your body might be, or I told myself that, it's younger than what you think. And I think that helped us. But again, we just are so thankful for the blessing that we had now ×2.
The moment you gave birth to Zai, take me back to that moment. What was that like?
It was actually, again, it's a COVID baby. So we have our own private room in Spain, and we say that health insurance in Spain is a lot different. So the whole procedure, moms, you understand, was $5,000 for a private room because I didn't have insurance because I was a foreigner. So it was this whole, it's not even comparable to this country. So you had your own private room. I tried to do 12, 15 hours of labor without anything. Not the right decision. I will take drugs as right away now. Try to do it, and then you realize, okay, he can't come out. A lot of athletes, we have tight hips. You have a lot of going on, so a lot of women actually have C-sections at play. I'd be interesting on that report, but I had a C-section. But my partner at the time, she couldn't come back because it's COVID. So they said, hey, 45 minutes, she'll be out. I didn't come out for 2.5 hours.
Oh my goodness.
But it was in Spanish. So she was trying to communicate. We couldn't call home. It was just all this process. And then you had to wait after the baby to make sure that nothing had COVID because it was such a high, intense environment. And then I still think to this day one of the biggest fights was leaving the hospital trying to figure out to put him in the car seat. Because it's just like so many things you weren't able to be taught. You weren't able to go to these classes because it was COVID. So your family wasn't there. Your mom wasn't there to help your hand. Her mother wasn't there to help her hand. Like it was just such a, Teo was so much easier.
So you guys were just learning on the fly with the first one.
Oh yeah. But it was great. I mean, again, you have this instinct that takes over and you read your books, and I have 10 nieces and nephews, so I'm lucky that I have this really intense and helpful family that can help me, and my sister has 5, so it's just, you just go with the punches.
So he is going to be 5
He's
this
going
year?
in September.
Okay. How would you describe him?
Oh, Zai. Zai is unfortunately my emotions, and then just a big rambunctious kid. But he is, I'm getting emotional, he's everything to me.
I want to dig a little bit deeper into you saying how right now is a good time for women professional athletes to get pregnant, especially when to start a family and everything. What has it been like seeing the change and maybe society become more accepting of women who, yes, do play sports at a high level, but also having the dream of becoming wives and mothers?
I think it trickles down. You talk about Karen and Laura that have been here and probably had to fight for so much to work and to have children. And then you come now that you are a player transitioning out to a coach, which is obviously harder because of the hours and amount coming and the time away. And then now you look at these players that you're celebrating the fact that they are professional women athletes. And I think that is so empowering because now when I became a mother, I became a better coach. I've seen Alex Morgan. Why do you think she was one of the best years of her career? In my opinion, knowing Al, is because she had a kid. And so when she come home from the office, from her job, from that 2 or 3 hours she was on the pitch, she got to just be a mom. So you get to shut off. You don't deal with the pressure. This is the most important thing in your life. And I think the balance, when you are ready to have that in your family and that point and you have that support system, it makes you a better human being. You have to become unselfish, but at the same time realize you're selfish in a very selfish business. It's
so incredible to hear you say that, because I've heard multiple women say that they're better coach, better leader, just better people when they get the chance to become a mother.
Yes.
And it's a reminder of just how powerful women are.
Yes. And balancing. We joke with the guys, you guys can't multitask. I don't know if that's true. But it just allows you to care about something bigger than yourself and be more empathetic. And I think coming back to this league as a coach, sometimes we can forget that. That this is somebody's daughter, that this is somebody's partner, that this is somebody's sister. And it's just allowed me to see the game in a whole different, hold them accountable, but see it in a different way, more from a mother's side than from just a coach that is the hierarchy, if that makes sense.
Can you share with us maybe an experience where you realized the opportunity to become a mother has helped you in your coaching career?
We joke, but I will talk about like Mana. Mana is our young little Japanese rookie, and she does not know how to put gas in her car. So Carrie Riccaro and I had a conversation like, Carrie, you need to go with Mana to the gas station and like try to help her out, and vice versa. Or we're joking about it. Like Carrie has a very motherly instinct with a lot of these players.
She does, yes, she definitely does.
And she, her and I have a good vibe with that. So it's just more about, again, seeing them as humans. I think sometimes you can get so lost of results and timing and all that time. It's just to say, hey, how are you? Yeah. And it has nothing to do with how you were doing on the pitch. It's like you as a human being, because I have to constantly do that with my son. How was your day? How did you feel? How do you feel about the game? How do you feel about school? So I just think it makes me realize the human side first, and I think sometimes the coach, it's just results.
You played for 10 years. When you were playing, were there conversations amongst you guys about, okay, like, hey, I want to become, really?
No. So Zada Bjork is the godmother of our son, and if you don't know her story, you should look it up. She's Icelandic captain. We played with her in Wolfsburg, and there was a big thing about when she got pregnant with her son Ragnar, who's now 2.5, at Lyon, and Lyon's the top of the top. And she had to fight the club to get, because they wanted to give her minimum wage, like the French minimum wage, when if you're at Lyon, you're making 300 plus. It's just the top of the top. And she had to go to FIFA for this legal battle to have this right. And that was in 2020, 2021.
So pretty recent.
So it's just like, it is a constant changing game, and credit to the U.S. I think we are probably the best support. And the CBA, I don't think the CBA like this exists anywhere else in the world.
Wow.
For maternity rights for women's soccer players.
So going from that to now, because I would imagine now, especially you being able to bring your sons around the team, I mean, if you need help, you probably have plenty of people willing to help and step in.
They're kind of like the emotional support dog. You know what I mean? Like, I mean that in the most loving, generous way, but like Teo was at preseason with us, and it's such an intense 14, 15 days.
Yeah.
That coming in for the girls, just even for 30 minutes to play with like this little ball of energy, and he's laughing, he's starting to walk. Like, I think it's just such a good thing, because again, we are women before anything else first in this environment, and I just think it pulls on a trigger that nothing else does in a good way.
What kind of impact have you seen Bring Your Sons Around had on this group of women that you've gotten to coach?
I'm just thinking of, there's a picture right after we won in Bay, and there's like 10 girls around, and Teo's there, and like Shea Groom, I think, is like playing like peekaboo with him, and they're all just laughing. And for me, it's just those moments you don't forget, because we won, yes, but it was just such a moment that I know that these girls generally care about somebody that I produce and as a coach, and it's just kind of like, there's been such a separation in this league recently between coaches and players, and I just think we're finally taking direction back, that as much as I see them as humans, they are also seeing us as humans. And I know that sounds odd, but there's an empathy on both sides, and I just think that's so powerful. Like, you can't put that into words, that where they see, oh wait, she's a mother. Oh wait, this is hard. Oh wait, this is me post-career. Oh wait, this can happen now. This is dynamics, and I think it's where they want to be. A lot of them want to be mothers, and now they can see it in all regards.
I was going to say, have you had some of them come up to you and talk about balancing out coaching and being a wife and a mother too?
Yeah, I think, but that's the thing. I think because I am, and they see my son, I think there's an empathy that goes with that. I think they see me, because a lot of times the dad's around, you don't see them being the kids, and they do. It's the same. They're doing the same amount of, well, some are doing the same amount of work, you know? So it's just a part of seeing, she's not just my coach. This is why she does what she does. Or I hope so. I mean, you might have to ask them, but I hope that it shows a vulnerability, because at the end of the day, that is my number one priority, is my family.
You've mentioned Teo a few times now, so talk me through the second pregnancy. Was it easier than the first one?
It was. Here's the date on the calendar. He's coming out at 6 a.m. There's no like contractions. It was such a different experience, and it's so much easier. I don't know if it's because you know what you're doing, if it's like the first one's a little bit high energy, so the second one's easier. It's usually like they give you a balance, and he's just a ball of joy. I mean, he's a year now, and I think he's been on 10 or 12 plane rides.
Wow.
One was back to Germany already, so it's just, they adapt, you adapt.
What have you learned being a boy mom?
Oh, I understand men so much better. I mean, I have to say, I work with mostly men. Our profession is still mostly men, and I think it's great, and I know that some of these relationships I have, they can be like, when my son comes in and Lauren, 7-year-old guy is like in Utah, like saying, oh, come here, little, like, it's just such a precious moment for me, because you're really understanding what the world's about.
Tell me, what is it like? What's a normal day look like in the Masar and Peter household?
Oh gosh, chaos. Because of the schedules, it's hard. Right. So she's more 8 to 5. For me, I'm up at 5:15, come into work by 6, because I know that my non-negotiable is that I pick my son up from school at 4. So I get in here usually 6:15. We have about a 2.5 hour prep before our meeting at 8:45. Training's 9:15. Post-training now, you get some food, start to plan for the next day. You're doing the scouts, you're watching. There's always something to do. There's always football to watch. And then I leave usually like 3:30 to go pick my son up at 4. And then you got to be on it. Like, this is easy. This job is easy, because then
I'm sure it feels like an escape almost.
Oh, we joke all the time. When you have a weekend alone with 2 boys to this, it's fine. And then I go home and have them from about 4, 7:30, 8 when they sleep. Teo does not sleep. So you're working and playing with them, and then you start again. And the days go quick, very, very quick.
How have you learned to compartmentalize and maybe be present in in the role of being a coach, the role of being a wife and a mom? How have you learned to be present with where you're at?
I'm not good at it.
Okay.
I think depending right now, obviously the results are not going the way we want.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought process and what my family has always taught me is that this is when you put your head down, you grind it out. So there's always a detail to be looked at, why, ask the questions. So now it's just put the computer down, like, you know, but that helps me, shuts the computer, just do an hour. Just go be with your kids for an hour. Yesterday was we lost, unfortunately, on Saturday. And you have this moment, okay, I need to work from 8 to noon, and then put the computer down, go play with your boys, and then you can work. And then you work until 1 a.m. And sometimes that's just what you do, but you have to really soak up those moments with them because everybody knows it goes so fast.
I've been able to speak to a lot of incredible women about balance, and a few of them have told me there's really no balance. It's all about prioritizing.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
There's always guilt.
Okay.
Mom guilt.
I was going to ask about that. Yes, mom guilt.
How
do you?
It's gotten better.
Especially being on the road too sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I
mean, I was gone in March, April. I was gone 3 out of 4 weeks.
Wow.
So I was gone 14 days with the national team, and then we came back. We went on this 9-day. Now that's unique. So that was hard because you come back and he's walking for the first time and he's seeing a different world, and Zai's having, you know, I can be honest, like Zai's having trouble in school. And I'm sure it's because of the amount of time I've been gone, because and he sees Teo with me. There's just such these different moments that you say, okay, is this worth it? I mean, you do. It's hard. But I love what I do, and I'm lucky to love what I do. But there's no answer.
How has this organization supported you being in both roles that are obviously both so important and meaningful to you?
I was joking with Karen the other day, sorry that I'm a thorn in your side sometimes, and she goes very smartly, she goes, you help us become better.
Wow.
And that only happens with the women in front of me trying to set that standard and understanding it. And also, you know, players talk to me, it must be hard. They go, it must be hard for you now that you're a coach and you see how much, like when I played, the minimum salary was $6,000. This is 2015. Max was $25,000-$30,000. So now the minimum is $34,000-$35,000. That's out, and you can say that's out in the world, right? And they get housing and they get 2 meals a day. I'm like, oh, it must be hard. I'm like, I just wish I was like 4 years younger. But this is what we fought for. This is why we are here. This is why we choose to be in the game, because we know it's continually going to get better, and this is what we want it to be about. This is what gives us strength and power, because we know it is changing. These women are getting what they've always deserved. We didn't, but that makes us want to stay in the game and to constantly make it better. So maybe you don't only give it right for the first one. Like, I'm one of the first staff that had a baby. Maternity leave, you're trying to figure all this out, but like through this experience, it makes the people around you better, and continue to strive and hold the standard and not being afraid to speak your mind in a delicate way.
When Karen looked at you and said, you help us be better, does it feel good to have another woman see you and feel seen?
You need it. And it must have been hard for her too. I can't imagine when she had kids what it was like. Did she get maternity leave in this country? Probably not. It's the same as when, you know, for me and players, was it able for I to get pregnant and play? Probably not. You had to make a choice. But it's about being through those experiences and putting people in those environments to get better, and just being able to listen. Hey, how you doing? How can we get better? How can we help you? How can we support you? Because it is new territory. That's why a lot of women I don't think coach, because it's hard. It's hard.
What kind of sacrifices have you and your family had to make for you to be able to live out both dreams right now?
It's hard. I mean, it's hard to be a coach. It's hard to be a mother. It's hard to be a partner. It's hard to be one that understands both sides of the coin and how quickly that this can all change. And then the hard is that sometimes you are going to have to do certain things that know that you're putting food on your kid's table. And that, for me, is probably the biggest lesson that I've learned, is that sometimes it's going to feel like a hard situation, and then you have to get back a perspective and say, hey, no, this is so my sons can eat at night and they can get up and they have a roof over their head. And that's probably the biggest perspective from being a player, where you're just like, oh, I'm going to fight for the rights. Now it's okay. You have to bring a paycheck in, and how can you adapt the situation to help not only the organization be better, but also yourself, and separate it. It's hard.
What has the soccer community, within the soccer community, motherhood like? Because I'm sure you guys are all very close. Because as women, we need to lean on to each other to get through some of the trying times.
So Bev Yanis has two. The head coach of Louisville, Angela Salem, she just had her second. She's assistant at DC and now at Bay Area, and we all played at the same time. I think that's probably the only three that are playing and coaching right now for the NWSL that have kids.
Okay.
Double check that, but I believe so. So it's just about encouragement. Mm-hmm. You guys, how the heck are you picking your kids up? Like, how do you deal when everybody gets sick? Like, we all have 2 kids now. Mm-hmm. How do you balance? How do you shut off? How do you become better? Like, these are the conversations us 3 have. Mm-hmm. Hey, this is what happened. How would you deal with it as a mom? Okay, answer. How would you deal with it as a coach? And having that community that understands the stress and what this job entails, and just trying to manage it. Because again, I think it's a very new thing that mothers have kids, and every organization has a different standard. Yeah. So it's also about, hey, what does Louisville have? Okay, well, let's see if we can talk to Chicago about implementing that for the mom coaches. Okay, Portland or Bay Area, what do they have? And it's just about helping us also, like we did as players, have the standard of mothers in this league. And it's been a work in progress.
What have you learned about yourself throughout this journey up until this point right now? A mom of 2 boys, but also someone who is one of the very few coaches in the NWSL that's balancing out life, motherhood, and your job.
I would have to say you hold on to the good days. Mm-hmm. I can tell you honestly, there has been, you're good at this, like drawing this.
No, there's so many times you always made me cry, so I'm holding it in.
There's times where you want to quit, to balance it all, because it feels some days like impossible. But then you know that the same way as when I played and I fought for what these women deserve now, you know that you're doing the same, because I know that if I walk away to do an 8 to 5 job, then maybe somebody else will be missing an opportunity down the road. Wow. So that's how I played. That's how I fought for things when I played, and that's what I'm doing now. Coaching is showing the world, hopefully. It's not pretty, but you can do both. And I believe in the Chicago Stars. I believe, because I've been here from the beginning, 2008, 2009, and I believe that whenever it is that, I walk away, that I hope that I made this club better than when I started.
Wow.
And that's it.
Where does the will to keep going and to never give up come from for you?
My dad always told us we tie our shoes the same way, and I lost him in 2011, and football still to this day, that's my time that I'm with him. And he loved the game. I love the game. I want my boys to see what it looks like to influence the game, and to set that standard. And I love coaching. I love teaching Mies and watching film with Mies and then seeing her trying to go implement it. There's nothing that's the same for me as scoring a goal in a 2019 Champions League final. And unfortunately, that's the card, because, Emma Hayes was asked once, what do you tell young coaches? And she's like, don't do it. Really? And I can understand. You don't get weekends. You're dealing with a lot of different moving parts, a lot of different humans. I mean, our youngest is 17, our oldest is 37. Like, that's a lot of different cultures, diversity, understanding, and I don't know. I love it. I don't know. This is what I felt like I've been meant to do, and I've been the superstar. I've been invisible. I've been the roster player, and that's what I want to do. And one day, hopefully, be a head coach, is because I want to know if it's possible to get everybody to believe about the name on the front compared to the name on the back.
I know your boys are very young, but do they ever sit with you and watch some games as well, or? The attention span is probably not there yet. Zai's been better. Like, he'll come to a game and start running around. Okay. Teo actually likes to kick a soccer ball. Like, Zai has no interest at all in it, which is kind of the running joke of the family. But I hope they do. I mean, he'll watch football when he was younger. He'd be like, Mama. And it would be like boys playing. Like, Mama's work, Mama. So, like, I think they're interested. They understand what we do. But again, like Chardonnay Coran, she was in Kansas City when I came back, because I was 18 months.
So she saw like this really chunky kid running around, and now she's here and she sees Zai at 5. So she's kind of been along this journey with him. Or a lot of players now, when they come Kansas City, a lot of players still play there. So when they see Zai, they're like, wow, that was 3.5 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Time flies.
And time flies.
What was it like kind of balancing out? Because you joined the Stars in 2023, correct?
22. I came back 2020, 22. This is my 3rd year.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah, 22.
When you were going through your second pregnancy about a year ago, I mean, what was that process like of just balancing out coaching? Because it was probably during the preseason too.
You should see me at IMG last year. I mean, there's a picture. I mean, I have like a basketball, and I'm like trying to do Pele's with Mal Swanson and throw the ball to her, and I got jumped in to play. But again, it's like you want to show them. I mean, you worked until 1 week before I gave birth.
Wow.
Right? So you're out there waddling and playing and trying to drive
You
balls.
worked till 1 week before you gave birth.
Oh, yeah.
So last week of March.
Yeah.
Oh my
I think
goodness.
we had a game March 31st, and then it was like 2 days. You're like, oh, okay, here I go. But I also think that's really hard because you have this coaching responsibility, and then in Europe you get a year, so it's easier. You know, like a season you're out. But then somebody has to take and do your job, and then you come back and you're trying to feel like you're involved, but you're not involved. You know, it's a really hard balance to find. So like when Angela Salem, the assistant coach, had her second, she's like, how did you do it? Like, how did you balance being there for the women, but also like taking your time because you have another kid and now you have another one coming in. It's not like you just have one. And it's grace, patience, kindness.
What have you learned about grace?
Oh, it's every day. And feedback. I think becoming a mother, I ask for feedback more. I don't have, I still have an ego. Everybody has an ego. You need an ego in this business. But I think, hey, what do you think of this passing? Hey, what did you think about this session? And that is, I'm not scared of feedback. I want feedback. Boss, what do you think I could do better? Lauren, what do you think about this? And I think that is, because I give my son feedback. Mom, I don't like what you did there. Okay, well, you know, there's still a hierarchy here. But I think that feedback is a huge part of what I've learned as a mother, that you need it to become better.
Obviously, the role is not easy, but tell me a good day. What is a good day like when you feel in your heart, today was a really good day?
That's a good question. I think it's one, watching film with the player and then seeing them trying to come implement it. I think also when a session is really clean, so we talk it out, you organize it, and then when you see it vibing and you see the girls having fun, I think fun is a huge part of the world that we miss.
Yeah.
And I just think, like Bay Area, you put out a plan, you executed, and you went on the road in one of the probably best environments in this league, and you walk away with 3 points. And to see that weight lifted off the players and to understand that, and just seeing them smiling, but also the staff. I mean, we have now 30 staff, something like that, plus 30 kids, like women. So it's like, it's not only them thriving in their environment, but also us. Like, are we thriving as a group behind the group to allow everybody to be the best version of themselves? And that is a good day.
What are some other steps that you think things could be improved for women who are in your position, like truly?
I keep looking at our media guy here. I think we should have the same standards as the players. I think that you should have a nanny allowed to come on a trip. I think you should have different clubs, athletes have different standards. I think you should not feel like you need to stop breastfeeding or having them like embrace that part of the aspect of it that coming. You want the kids around. And that is probably different from environment to environment. So I'm saying that not Chicago hasn't done that, but just the overall to the league. Like, support the mom. Support the ex-player that wants to be here to make the NWSL better. Support that and show these women what it's like to be this role, because it is unique. It takes a village. Let them see the human sides of everyone. And I think the more we can do that and set the standards on both sides, not only with the players here, but staff also, then I think the league is going in the right direction.
Before we started this conversation, I told you, I can't believe you were pregnant a year ago, because you look
really
freaking incredible.
Yeah.
But just talk to me about, you know, because like for us as women, we are our toughest critics, truly. But to get back into shape and everything, what did that look like for you?
Again, it's hard. I mean, it's hard. It's like 30 minutes of your day, and that's like 30 minutes away from work, or that's 30 minutes with a kid. Like, I know a lot of people get up at 5 to work out 5:15 to 5:45. I sometimes get to jump in with the players, which is where I like have a really good time playing, because I can play center back and you get your heart rate up. Lauren and I would sometimes run after as well. So you find your 30 minutes, but for me, that's also the same as going home from like, I need that 30 minutes to work out. And I have an app, it's called Chris Hemworth app, Center, and I have weights in my basement, and it's 30 minutes I just get to shut down, and I hate it. I don't like to do it, but I want my piece of chocolate, so I do it, and it's just this vanity of, it's always with you as a footballer. And you still have probably some pounds to lose, but it's just, I also think for them, like, to be a fit coach, to jump in and play, I think that goes, you can do it all. You can't really, but you try to show them that you can do it all.
Whenever I get the chance to talk to women who are mothers and who are balancing out multiple roles, a lot of them will tell me about how you kind of got to find the thing that refills your cup.
Yes.
So what are some things that refill your cup?
Just be with my family. Everything down. Like yesterday, we had 2 hours in the backyard, and I'm seeing my son walk, more than 20 steps, and Zai's playing with him and picking him up, and that I remember why I do this crazy thing in the first place. And then all my friends are all over the world, so in a perfect world, it's having wine with them on an island somewhere, but that doesn't come. I haven't had a vacation in 3 years, but that's the other thing that probably fills my cup, is just being with my people.
What is your advice to women out there who want to do it all, to go after their dream and to go after that dream job, but to also be a wife and a mother as well?
Put what's important to you on a list. So it depends where you are in your life. Some might be family, work. Some might be kids, work, family. Put what makes most sense to you. And sometimes it's okay that even though your family's your top priority, work might be here. And be okay and give yourself grace. For the next day, okay, your family's here, and then I'm going to know my family's first, my work's next. Know your non-negotiables and stick to them, but when they do get funky, give yourself grace that you're not looking back over your shoulder and you can look forward.
My final few questions for you. What is the best part of being a boy mom?
I can throw my sons and he'll pop right back up. There's just like this rambunctious side. Like I'm seeing my son turn into like this gentle giant, and we always joke, it's like, oh, he's your son, because we go to a playground and he's like going and talking to all these people and trying to navigate being a 5-year-old boy, and I'm so proud of him and then I see Teo, and he's troublemaker already. It's just like your greatest strengths and your weaknesses are through your kids.
Wow.
And I see that already. And unfortunately, he has my emotion, that 5-year-old boy, but it's why you do what you do. They're your legacy. And I get 2 healthy ones to do that right now, and I'm just trying to soak that in every day.
Do you guys have moments where you look at one of them and you're like, wait a minute, who'd you guys get that from?
Yes. I think the other day I was like, you are being a little bleep. And I go, that's her, not me. But of course, it's probably me. But it's fun. The ride is so quick. It goes so fast, and you're just trying to make it slow down a bit.
Well, Ella, my final question for you is, what is your favorite part about being a mother?
Trying to be a better version of myself. Like, I think you're quite selfish probably before you have kids, and you're just trying to be, same as coaching, like they allow you to see you have to be unselfish, you have to be unselfish with your time, you have to be more loving. And I never thought, the question is, when you have 1 kid to 2, you don't think you could have any more love for a human being, and just understanding there's always more to give.
Wow. Do you guys want more kids?
To be determined.
TBD. On that
TBD.
note, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for
Thank
the honesties. I know this is a conversation that's going to help other women as well.
I hope so.